पादमौलिपर्यन्तां गुरूणामाकृतिं स्मरति न विघ्नप्रणश्यन्ति सिद्धन्ति च मनोरथः लक्ष्मीन्तनूतु नितरामितरानपेक्षं मृत्वयं निगमशाकिशिखाप्रवालम् हैरम्बमम्बुरुहडम्बरचौर्यनिक्रमविघ्नात्रिभेदशतधारधुरन्धरम् सर्वेषां स्वागतं. This is the Saṃskāra session for the 52nd shloka. So, since we are talking about attaining a state of detachment, we need to understand what that state is. So, there, Shat Sampatti is something that we have talked about when we did Sadhana Chatushtaya. The qualifications of a Shishya, of a disciple, of a seeker in this sense. What was it? We have talked about it once. But Shat Sampatti in particular, we will talk about over here. Now, why we are doing this? Because we have reached that practical stage of instruction in Sri Rama Gita, where Sri Rama is giving that particular stage that, direct instructions has been given us to do this, do this, do this for realization, self-actualization, self-realization. So for that, we are having a look at this Shat Sampatti. Now, what are these Shat Sampatti? 6 virtues they are. So what are the 6 virtues? Shama, Dama, Titiksha, Shraddha, Uparati, and Samadhan. So here, Shama is inner tranquility and peace of mind, where we are unperturbed, we are not disturbed by any of the stimulus, external stimulus. So that is one of the most important things, not to be, where there are, at the time of adversities, we have to keep a calm mind, they say. What is this calm mind? The tranquility of the mind must be retained. My mind is in that state of not getting disturbed. When some thought comes in, you imagine water, still water. When a drop falls into it, it causes ripples. That ripples are the thoughts. If I do not, what happens is, if I do not control my thoughts, the drops, it keeps falling and ripple starts coming out. That is what develops that thought, the negative sentiments, or even positive for that matter. So maintaining that stillness of mind is important. So inner tranquility. So this is one thing. Then Dhamma. Dhamma is training and controlling of that senses. Why do we train and control our senses? Because it is through our senses that we are perceiving our stimulus. So therefore, that has to be understood. And why training is required? Because we cannot achieve it at a point of, I cannot say, okay, I'm going to withdraw my sense of vision. That is not possible. We have already spoken about the sense of vision is very much different from my vision. Drishti is different from what I see. The drishti is much more developed. That is the reason when I'm exposed to light for a long period of time and I close my eyes and somebody switches off the light, also I'm able to sense. I don't know, I haven't seen darkness yet, but I'm able to sense that the light has already been switched off. I'm also able to recount when it is not, when there is a strong sense of light. When I retain the impression of light in my eyes, sometimes what happens, even when the light is off, I'm still able to think that I don't need it. So impressions exist. Everything has an impression, everything has a memory. So therefore, training is required. That is the reason in most of our kriyas, we have this rule of not touching anything. Of course, there has been different connotations given, but the main nature is to control our senses. We have 5 sense organs. When we sit for any of the dharmika kriyas, the first thing that we do is wash our hands. In many of the South Indian mutts or temples, while doing Sankalpa also, they pour some water and we wash it. It's not because we want to be clean. It is not, that is not the reason. Although it serves the nature, that is not the reason. Water has the peculiar characteristic of washing away one's memory, skin memory. Whatever is the memory that is associated with touch, that can be cleared by water. So therefore, we wash so that any other memory I was holding, I was riding, I was, holding that handles of the bike or anything, all those things, you may notice, see, when I'm holding, I have this working of my fingers where I'm pressing the brake, holding something, etc. So my fingers become extremely active. They are the function, they are doing, serving that function, therefore they are doing that. Now when I've stopped, that means after riding, I have stopped riding. Now I have come out, I have unmounted the bike, I have come, I am doing sankalpa at a temple. My hands still haven't come off from that feeling that it is riding. So it is very still, it is very stubborn. So this water washes away that memory. It relaxes. So most of the kriyas we start with the sankalpa with water only, because as we know, the outer, any the with the touch, sense of touch is the most felt, mostly because skin covers the whole of our body. So we can feel that at any point of time, even with non-touch. That is, touch is a very specifically used term, but we are talking about a vaguely term, that is anything that comes into that uh, scope of vyoma. We have the pancha prana. In that, vyoma is what that covers that sensation over the skin. So anything that comes into that scope of vyoma, we feel it. I don't actually have to touch physically. I don't have to do that. Even if I could take my hands very, palms very close to each other, I can feel the sensation. That is the point of it. So I have to withdraw from this. That means I have to make my sense organs gradually relax and desensitize themselves to any kind of stimulus. Touch is what initiates my skin. I have to make my skin desensitized to touch. So I'm using water over here. In the same way, ice, one of the most important practices that we have in our dharmic kriyas, is closing our eyes for this thing, praying for anything, for any mantra, ucharana, etc., etc., anything. We need to close our eyes. Then pranayama, where exhaling takes the center stage than inhaling. Then we keep drinking water, agamarshana we call it, or we call it and by different teams in different this thing. In Sandhya Vandana, it is called as agamarshana. We drink swaha, we say, and we drink that water, cleansing the mouth of any of the remnants of taste. Why? Even if there is a, let us say I'm not brushing my teeth, even if I don't brush my teeth, there is some kind of sensation, there's some remnants of the taste. I will start salivating based on that. So I need to clean my mouth. But clean my mouth not as in that with the toothpaste, because the toothpaste also has some taste. So water is the best cleansing agent. So we drink water. frequently this is done. The kriyas that has been shown in our dharmic rituals are not just to specialize or something that was made out of whim. It is very specifically designed to train our sense organs to withdraw. So, what happens is we have this nature of using all these things to reduce our sensitivity to external stimulus. And that is what Dhamma has to do, training ourselves, training our sense organs to become desensitized. Usually, we may have seen it is somebody has a very cold hand because they're sweaty. They touch us and suddenly we jolt, suddenly we get a, you know, we feel that cold. Why are we doing that? Because our skin is so sensitive to the temperature change with touch. We are not experiencing that temperature change. Somebody has experienced it. Their body is regulating it. We just a touch came about and then we are withdrawing. We are reacting to it. So that should not happen. So Dhamma is to train ourselves to control our senses. Then it is titiksha. Titiksha is forbearance and tolerance. That is, titiksha is basically not being uh, disturbed. Tikshatva is to take up forbearance and tolerance. And then comes Shraddha. Shraddha is having faith. I've already said that when we reach a certain stage, it is only our experience that can be taken as pramana. There cannot be anything else. Now, I cannot keep saying, show me the proof, when I'm not able to accept the proof that has been shown. My experience is my pramana. If that cannot be accepted by anybody, then I cannot help it. Because this of nature is only something that can give us pramana through anubhava. So if people are not able to accept anubhava experience as pramana, then we cannot go further with it. So having faith, shraddha, in what we are doing is the only way where we stop questioning at some point of time and just give in. That is the reason why we need to surrender, why there is so much noise about surrendering ourselves to Krishna consciousness or etc. etc. When we reach a certain stage, we can only experience. And we can only experience if we allow the experience to take over. And that is only possible when we stop questioning. So therefore, having faith in something, it does not mean don't question. Don't let the question ruin the experience. That is the point of it. Yogis have the answers, but they cannot give you the answer because we are not ready for it. How can a child which doesn't know how the whole solar system works understand that the earth is revolving around the sun and all that? It has to reach a certain level of proficiency to understand it. So, taking us to the extent of practice is up to the scriptures. Beyond that practice, beyond that uh, level of initiation, practice is up to us. Only when we clear our mind of the doubts, have faith in the practice, then the practice will allow us to experience the merger of or experience or realize Brahman. So therefore, having Shraddha in that practice and the Tattva, Uparati, withdrawing from the world and turning inward. This usually happens because we have already talked about even in this thing, Vismrta Akhila. All the material manifestations we should withdraw from it. That's a very simple this thing. Then Samadhana. That is Samadhana. Here we are trying to focus our entire dhyana and into one thing. But there again, what happens at the highest level, we have lost that also. We have become me realizing Brahman and merger with Brahman is different. When merger with Brahman happens, then there is no dhyana, there is no focus, there is no nothing. It just happens. And when there is there, then we are only pure consciousness, then the body has no relevance whatsoever. The existence itself is just consciousness. So is uh, that is not samadhana, that is samadhi. But here samadhana is a little below that, where we are focusing, we are trying to bring about total focus on the determination of attaining a goal. That's all. So these are the Shat Sampattis. And this is important to understand. While these are eligibility criteria before the practice starts. All till now we are saying all this are the methods that has been prescribed. Nididhyasana ended, then this final realization, what is the result of it, has been given in this verse. So everything has been explained, that we will experience it like this. This is going to be the result of it. We are going to forget all the materialistic world, etc., etc. This Shat Sampatti is the eligibility criteria we have to attain at this level. When we have attained it, then we can start practicing from here onwards, henceforth. That result, whatever has been mentioned in 52nd verse, can only be attained after Shat Sampatti has been attained. So with this is the concept of Shat Sampatti. स्वस्ति प्रजाभ्यः प्रतिपालयन्तां न्यायेन मार्गेण महीमहीषा गोब्राह्मणेभ्यो शुभमस्तु नित्यं लोकाः समस्ताः सुखिनो भवन्तु कायेन वाचा मनसेन्द्रियैर्वा बुद्ध्यात्मना वा प्रकृते स्वभावात् करोमि यद्यत् सकलं परस्मै नारायणाय इति समर्पयामि।